Hi, I'm makeup artist Justin Tyme. Welcome back to Make Up Your Mind TV. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the latest craze in our ever-evolving eyebrow journey, microblading. Now, if you've heard of microblading, you might have some questions about it. Usually people automatically go right to, oh, it's just brow tattooing. In a sense, it could be considered brow tattooing, but it's also a bit different from how you would picture your brows being tattooed. I actually just got my brows microbladed today. It's been a few years deciding whether or not I wanted to have the procedure or, treatment, whatever you would like to call it, done. I do have a few sparse bits in my eyebrows right in the corner and on the end, a few throughout here. I was born in 1982, meaning that I was a teenager in the late 90s and early 2000s. And if you were alive during that time, you know that we were just not very kind to our eyebrows in any way. I had razor thin arched eyebrows that were just so, it was a look. And then beyond that, I thought I was so cool that my best friend and we decided to shave lines into our eyebrows when we were on a trip to Europe, just because that's just what you did when you were a twink in the late 90s. It is what it is. So that left me with some sparse bits in my brows. Now, at 37 years old, the brow hair is definitely starting to thin out. Those sparse bits that never grew back after the trauma that was being a teenager during that era. And so after filling it in, brow products are great. Sometimes the brushes can, however, pull out the hair. It's just, I got sick of filling them in every single day and having to worry about, having a makeup product on my face every single day that could smudge off. So when it finally came time to get my brows microbladed, there was only one person that I had in mind, Lina Hang. If you're based in Los Angeles, she is the person to go to, and it's totally worth flying into LA to see Lina. We met when I first moved to LA. One of my first gigs was actually assisting her on a music video. She's an incredible makeup artist. She has since just retired from makeup pretty much and now does microblading full time. Like, she is just that good. The lines that she is able to achieve, they're thinner than your actual hair. It's quite amazing. I miss doing makeup with Lina greatly, but it's very clear of her passion and her skill in this. It's exquisite. She's the only person I would ever recommend going and having microblading done. She's in downtown Los Angeles. You should follow her on Instagram. It's at Lina Hang Permanent Makeup. LINAHANG Permanent Makeup. She has all kinds of really awesome videos on there showing different techniques that she uses. There's the single hair that I got today. There's also kind of a shading technique for, if you like to have your brows look as though you do have something filled in. I want to just go ahead and get a close-up. Look at that. You would never know. We did a few in here, here. Let's not blow that out. And then throughout here, just a little bit, wherever they were sparse. Usually when you think of microblading as well, it's primarily women getting it done. And in this day and age, we're definitely seeing men take better care of themselves as far as, skincare, hygiene, everything like that is concerned. Now, eyebrows are something that a lot of men don't particularly take care of, but they absolutely should. As the men age, our eyebrows, they do thin out. And one of the primary questions that I get asked by men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is how to maintain something like that, because they don't want to wear makeup. Using a gel pomade or something like that in the brow is just out of the question because of the usual crunchiness that can come with that. It just feels unnatural to a face that is not used to wearing makeup. And for the most part, men are not going to sit there and want to fill in the eyebrow and mess with any of that. That's really where I would say microblading should come into a man's life. If you're unwilling to do makeup, but you miss the fullness that you had in your teens and 20s of your brows, or if you're like myself and were a young queer twink back in the day and just razor thin, it was a look. I would highly recommend having this done. I recommend every single person that speaks to me about microblading or has any kind of brow concerns to Lina, and the response that I get is just thank you upon thank you upon thank you, and repeat clients for her. She's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it. Microblading is it's such a new way to go about doing brows. A long time ago, brows were Well, if you were going to have your brows done, you would be having them tattooed. And I can remember in the early 2000s, seeing and speaking to people that have had their eyeliner, their lip liner, their brows tattooed on. The problem is that in that time, the ink wasn't the quality that it needed to be. The technology wasn't where it needed to be. And so, for the most part, all of these people just have these thick, black, just amateurish looking tattoos on their face or, under their eyes or something like that. And it's not their fault. They just, they got the procedure done before the technology was where it needed to be to achieve the goal that I think everyone was going for. For those people now, they're dealing with having to either cover it up with makeup or go through a tattoo removal on the face, which cannot be comfortable. I've never seen it done, but I imagine that would be crazy painful. So, microblading. Basically what it is not brow tattooing, and because it's a two-step process instead of the single that you think of when you think about tattooing. With microblading, it's basically a micro blade that does single hair for the most part, and then the ink is pressed into the skin. It kind of sits there, and of course before you have this procedure done, you fill out all of the necessary medical paperwork and everything like that, and your face is treated to a numbing cream that pretty much takes all of the pain out of it. You definitely feel that there's something happening on your face. If you've ever had a tattoo done, it's like 1% of what that is, the feeling of it. There is the sound of the skin. The skin does rip, it gets cut. If sound is something that you're super sensitive to, maybe wear some headphones or some earplugs, something like that. I don't mind it at all. I didn't mind the procedure. I could have sat there and just had Lina go at my brows all day long until I had a full-on gorgeous Frida Kahlo going across. But for me, for right now, in my brow journey, I just wanted to see the thickness that I had in my, before I went at them with the tweezers of the generation. It was a look. It was a time, you know what I mean? And if your brows survived it, that's awesome. Many of our brows didn't. Rest in peace, Twinkie razor eyebrows of the DC Metro scene and pretty much everywhere else. But in the DC Metro scene, we all had razor thin eyebrows, and then when Bobby and I carved into ours, we were just the best. It was amazing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you're watching it on Instagram TV, make sure to follow at MakeUpYourMindTV. You can also follow myself and my personal makeup artistry at Justin Tyme Art. Time is Tyme. And make sure to follow Lina Hang Permanent Makeup at Lina Hang Permanent Makeup at LinaHang Permanent Makeup. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Make Up Your Mind TV. Have a great day and enjoy your own personal brow journey.